I can't really think of like visually a kind of a moment that really stands out, but definitely have felt it kind of creeping into my work. Remember in second year in art college, it was a big year for me, just kind of figuring out things about life. And remember Alan Keane telling me about Lankum and kind of hearing them for the first time, and having grown up, I remember having this Luke Kelly, The Definitive Collection. It was like a red CD that I loved. But remember hearing a song and kind of making the connection that artists were kind of using folk music and things in the past and things in Irish history, and kind of having been interested in that all my life, Irish history, folklore, things like that, and just kind of, yeah, it's kind of interesting looking back just how that kind of crept in and just became a part of my work, because I guess it's just me interpreting life as it's kind of unfolding. So yeah, there's just been a natural kind of introduction, and yeah, it absolutely is a personal, quite a personal response. I think the driving tension is just like, for me, looking at a lot of this work, I've met it mainly in the last year, and most of my work may be quite deeply embedded in like folk music or history or ideas surrounding kind of conflict and things, but at the end of the day it's just me reacting to my life and me painting in the studio and me painting houses. I've been painting houses longer than I've been painting pictures. So it was just that kind of constant, I suppose, balancing act of doing both of these things, doing one primarily just to pay my way to paint pictures, and I just thought it was an interesting thing to consider. And I suppose the title kind of came from painting the toilets in the commercial pub in Limerick, and Rocky, the owner, having bought a painting of me that I done of the commercial, and I remember getting paid, and the envelope that was in behind the bar just said Paddy Painter / Painter. So that happened years ago and kind of stuck with me, and yeah, I just think it's also important. From my first solo show, Ragged Trousers, I think a lot of the things that I'm concerned about and dealing with within my work about class and labour, that was kind of made very evident to me in the book The Ragged Trouser Philanthropists, I think has, I suppose over the last couple of years, just formed the basis for this exhibition. So yeah, it's just kind of a response to my own life. I think it's the painting just behind me, Black Sod Bay, for Padder, because it's a painting made this time last year, that was started this time last year, but it's quite a bleak looking painting, but it's actually made over about 6 months or more. But it's a painting about one of my best friends, Padder Totter, who died this time last year. Well, he was buried this time last year, but he died in New Zealand, and it kind of it was a tough time for his friends and family, and it was just my way of kind of saying goodbye to him and remembering his character. So the flag of Mayo and Black Sod Bay is near where he's from, between Belmullet and Black Sod Bay, and it's kind of thinking of memories of a day we spent, and an image I have of us in Black Sod Bay, and it's kind of Yeah, just little nods to Padder and a memory of him. That's kind of something that I still don't really know, and it can kind of come from anywhere, but I try to keep things as reflective of day-to-day life as possible. So yeah, sometimes, and I think a good example of this would be, I made a painting that was called Lovers and Friends, and that was made the day after being in a session in a pub called the Wee House in Dundalk, and a fella sang a song called Lovers and Friends, and I remember being kind of half drunk looking at this man singing the song, and just the words and the kind of images and colours that it conjured up, it's just stayed with me, and I just had to kind of paint that as best I could, and then that colour then inspired another work, and painting just kind of, and life and experiences just kind of bounce off each other to form other work, I think. Yeah, I think, and I don't know if they ever will, for example, well, maybe they will, but the painting here that says, it's called Remember the Spring, is a painting about, it's basically, it's the reference image of 13 skulls, is about the 13 people murdered on Bloody Sunday. And I'm not sure what that painting is going to do, but I suppose themes within my work that I would like to explore, or that are on my mind a lot and maybe don't enter my work, are concerns about injustice in the world, in history, things that are happening today, what we've seen in various parts of the world. But I mean, as much as you try to, I'm an artist, I don't know what I'm going to do. There's a quote from Philip Guston that was him talking about, I think it was the war in Vietnam, and how he would read it on the papers and then go back into his studio and kind of change a blue to a red, and kind of wondering what the point was. But that kind of keeps me up at night. I suppose, like, love is probably something that I would like people to leave with, or an acknowledgement of ordinary things, and I would like people to leave this with a sense of, I guess this is me trying to make sense of the world, and I don't know, hopefully people will leave this with something personal to them. But if I had my way, and if everyone left the exhibition and started to do things like speak up about injustice, or to reflect and think if they can have any change, even if it's small, that they would do that. But yeah, maybe if they just like the paintings.